Hey there everybody, Sam here, also known as Mr. Stainless, and we are back talking about State of Decay 2, and more importantly, we're going to be going through the content patch 4.0. We do this for every major patch that is released for State of Decay 2. Basically, I just go through the patch notes and highlight some of the notable changes so that you guys are kept up to date on how your game is running. So, without further ado, let us get stuck into it. Now, this is classed as the kind of Daybreak pre-patch, really. So it's going to come in at about 8.7 gigabytes, I think is the size, and they themselves are classing it as paving the way for the upcoming Daybreak pack. What you'll see from the patch notes very shortly is that there isn't a lot of changes. Some of them are very notable, but I wouldn't be surprised if some of that 8.7 gigabytes is some data, some information to pave the way for the Daybreak DLC download next week as well. So there are some notable changes here with regards to character development or character interaction, which we'll get to in a second. But the first thing that I want to draw your attention to, which I am very happy about, is that they've fixed an exploit involving buying and selling stackable items with traders to earn massive amounts of influence. This was a influence glitch, influence hack, influence cheat, whatever you want to call it, that some of you guys were using. Some of you had let me know about this in the comments. A few of you had been trying to get me to do this on stream. I'm not a fan of these kinds of things, which is why I haven't done it. But basically, the way that this worked was that you were able to sell an individual round of ammunition to a trader and buy it back for less influence than what you were selling it for. So if you did this for a long duration of time, you could farm a large amount of influence just by buying and selling back an individual piece of ammo. That is now fixed. If you try to go and do that, it will no longer work, just so you are aware. But let's get on to the massive things that they've introduced. I'm super happy about this. Thank you so much, Undead Labs. GG. Claps in the chat, firm handshakes, whatever you want to say. This is the key thing you need to take away from this patch. So random resource loss events are now dependent on morale and traits. If you recruit carefully and keep everyone happy, then random resource losses should be a thing of the past. What this means is that if you've been playing through State of Decay 2, occasionally, it was quite regularly, what you'll have is a little ping comes up on the bottom of the screen from your home base, and someone will have spilled some fuel, and you'll lose fuel resource, or cockroaches have got into your food, you'll lose food. The building materials got soggy, and they've had to throw them out. It was happening all the time, and it basically just made you feel like your community was filled with incompetent assholes. It was really frustrating. It's something that's been annoying a large number of people in the community ever since the game launched. That is now completely been revamped. That now will no longer happen unless your community members have traits that would enable it to happen. So like they're clumsy or they're lazy or things like that. Equally, if morale is low, it'll trigger it too. And there's actually a kind of more in-depth way that they've changed that as well. So characters who incur a resource loss event because of low morale will now receive a temporary morale benefit for doing so. So for instance, if somebody... one that would happen a lot is that somebody would eat food because they were comfort eating or whatever. So now that when they do that, that community member's morale will be boosted because they've ate a pile of chocolate and they feel really good for it. And then maybe their morale might go low because they feel like they're putting on weight. Who knows? But that is, like, for me, that's massive. And I think for a number of people in the community, that's going to be a massive change that they've introduced. Really thankful for that. I think Undead Labs have totally hit the nail on the head and knocked it out of the park. I'm just going to throw as many sayings as possible, figures of speeches as possible at you, but as well as that, skilled characters will now sometimes provide the community with new free items in place of the resource loss events. Now, this sometimes happens already, where a community member will appear with like snacks or some painkillers and some meds. Now, I don't know if that's what they're talking about, where that's going to be maybe more regular, or if they're talking about a community member actually acquiring physical resources for the community. I'm not too sure. We might get some clarification on that as we play. One thing that I've actually been encountering in the bases and facilities section is the sniper tower not being able to be scaled. That has now been fixed. So I would get halfway up and then there was like an invisible wall. Couldn't go any further. That should now be patched out. One other thing that a lot of you guys have been struggling with and having a lot of trouble with in the game is NPCs not actually being there whenever you go to speak to them. So as you can see here with the missions, they fixed many cases where critical NPCs would not show up for missions, or in one case would attack you for no reason, which sounds kind of scary. So basically what happened is you would have driven to a location, the NPC was nowhere to be found, but their little orange icon was there. It's just that they weren't, and you would have to leave the area, come back, and they would magically reappear, and you'd be able to continue your mission. That should now be fixed. We shouldn't be experiencing that anymore. Of course, like all things, this is a patch, and with every patch there are sometimes some bugs that haven't been completely ironed out. Some patches introduce new bugs, as we all know. One thing that I was slightly worried that I haven't seen in this patch is the audio bug. I know that they're having a lot of trouble trying to isolate that and figure out what's actually causing the very incredibly loud static noise bug that then just kills all of your game audio. From what I can see, that hasn't been fixed yet, unless it's just not been written up on their patch notes. Hopefully that will be fixed very, very, very soon. It is a real pain in the ass and just makes my eardrums bleed every time it happens. So hopefully that'll be coming in a future patch. A couple of final points on the gameplay side of things. Armored zombies are no longer killed by flames. Instead, they catch fire and become scary, like a juggernaut. So if you are trying to kill armored zombies with flames, just be aware that will no longer work. I think that's going to be super important for the Daybreak DLC launching next week. So keep an eye out for that. One thing the final point, which is something I've been slightly confused about, zombie kills with vehicles should now count towards zombie killing achievements. Now, I thought this was always a thing. I don't know if they're saying this because there were times where it wasn't counting towards the zombie killing achievements, but haven't zombie kills with vehicles always counted towards that 10k threshold? I don't know. Let me know down in the comments. Do you guys know any more about that? But folks, that is my highlights for the State of Decay 4.0 patch. As always, I will leave a link to the patch notes down in the video description where you can go and check them out yourself. Daybreak releases next week. I know some of you are really excited. I know a lot of you don't really care. I will be playing Daybreak DLC on stream. I'm going to be playing a few games with you guys as well. So if you see me streaming State of Decay 2 whenever Daybreak launches, make sure and hit me up with your gamer tags down in the comments. Hop into the stream and we'll jump into some Daybreak and see if we can complete it and get some lovely Red Talon community members to spice up our gameplay. But folks, if you are new to my channel and you're a fan of State of Decay 2, hit the subscribe button down below. I upload 2 State of Decay 2 videos every week to keep you prepared for the coming apocalypse. But until next time, have a great week, and I'll speak to you all soon.